big starts in his young life, facing living legends, a team filled with MVP candidates, and a 3-time MVP winner. Now imagine, if you will, this 22-year-old kid facing this team 3 times in less than a month. You are about to enter the Sean O'Sullivan zone.
Billy Butler hit a go-ahead home run on Friday night, and then Kansas City was drenched for over 2 hours. When the rain finally stopped, it was Saturday, and Joakim Soria took care of his 25th consecutive save opportunity. Tonight it's Game 3 between the Royals and the Yankees, with each team having won a 1-run game. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. I'm Ryan Lefevre. And so far, the Royals have held the most productive offense in the American League to just 7 runs in the first 2 games. The Royals have also scored just 7 runs. And over the past week, the Royals have been getting a lot of production from the bottom of the batting order.
And, Ryan, that's not what you normally see in a lineup. Usually that comes from the top. But these guys like Alex and Yuniesky, they bat in the bottom of the order where they can kind of relax a little bit. And Alex has done a great job since he's recalled from Omaha, taking the ball the other way and really driving the ball. Yuniesky, Betancourt, has done an outstanding job, Ryan, not only in the home run department, but also in the RBI and base hit department. He's done a great job.
And you can add Mitch Meyer to the mix and go back to the All-Star break. And here's what these 3 guys have done since the break. So production down in the bottom of the order, the Royals are going to need that. And production in the middle of the top of the order, going up against Phil Hughes, who is 13-5 this year.
Well, Phil Hughes is going to be tough for the Royals. He's coming off a game where he lost 2-1 against John Lester, but he's going to be around the plate. But the Royals do have an 8 ERA against John Lester, so they're not going to be intimidated, but they will have to stay close to beat him tonight.
And one of the Royals that got to Phil Hughes when they faced him last month was Billy Butler, who had 2 hits and, of course, had the game-winning home run last night to even the series at 1 game apiece. We'll have more from Kauffman Stadium right after this. learn more, visit kia.com. By Kellogg's, the best to you each morning. And by the Missouri Lottery. Big crowd tonight of Royals fans and Yankees fans. Here's how New York is lined up, presented by M&I Bank. And the Yankees only scoring 7 runs in the first 2 games. That's because Mark Teixeira, Alex Rodriguez, and Robinson Cano have only combined for 4 hits. They have, however, driven in 4 runs. And they'll be looking at Sean O'Sullivan for the 3rd time in less than a month. Here's the Kia report.
Well, Ryan, Sean O'Sullivan's got to stay away from the deep counts. These guys get ahead of you. They can lay back and really do some damage. And first pitch strikes are going to be key for Sean tonight. He has 5 out of 6 strikeouts on his changeup, but if he can improve that 17 for 30 first pitch fastball, then that changeup will be a lot better for him tonight.
Well, if Phil Hughes had trouble with Billy Butler last time, Sean O'Sullivan certainly had trouble with Curtis Granderson, who, for the most part, has struggled this year, but he took O'Sullivan deep twice at Yankee Stadium. It's Game 3 between the Royals and the Yankees, and the first pitch is next. High Definition, brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. And tonight's broadcast is on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces, serving in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea. And they're watching around the world in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, and Japan. And we all say welcome. And we also welcome in the 3rd member of our crew, Joel Goldberg.
Well, Ryan, thanks. Frank was just talking in the last segment about Sean O'Sullivan and that change of facing the Yankees again. 3rd time in 26 days that he faces the Yankees, and pitching coach Bob McClure saying he thinks that they might sit on that changeup a little bit. So the key for Sean tonight, don't be too predictable. It's hard to stay ahead of a team when you face them so frequently. But at the same time, Max said when we were playing back in his day, that They did it quite frequently. They did it often, and they were able to still beat teams. He said the key is mixing it up a little bit more. Pitch backward, pitch forward, switch it around a little bit, but the most important thing, sticking to your strength. It all comes down to location, keeping the ball down, and getting ahead. If you do that, you don't have to be quite as predictable. Guys?
All right, thank you, Joel. And every time Sean Sullivan has faced the Yankees this year, Phil Hughes has been pitching for New York. Derek Jeter with 4 hits in the first 2 games, and he has scored twice. He and Mark Teixeira lead the American League with 84 runs scored. And Jeter takes strike 1. Jeter batting in the 260s when the Royals were in New York last month, and now up to 282. Just wide of third base, and O'Sullivan is ahead, no balls, 2 strikes.
And the one thing we used to go do in the old days, Ryan, we used to face these teams 3 times at our place, 3 times at their place, and you can really depend on them having the same 3 starters. So the key thing was just to have fastball command. If you have fastball command, it really doesn't matter how many times you face the guy. It's all about how you command your pitches.
Still no balls, 2 strikes. And especially having good fastball command and throwing strikes during the 6-10 games when the pitcher and the batter is in the shadows and the outfield is in the full sunlight. That is definitely an advantage on the pitcher side. 1-2 on Jeter. So Sullivan not just trying to bounce back against the Yankees, but trying to bounce back from his last start when he was beaten by the Angels. There's the changeup. So a good start for him. Jeter is out number 1.
What makes his changeup better, Ryan, is the fastball command. He's ready to get his fastballs over earlier, and his arm slot is the same as his fastball, and here comes that good changeup. On the outer half of the plate, good location.
So good that you could say that changeup was up.
Up and just away enough that made Derek try to jump across the plate at it. But I think if you don't have your fastball command, then they'll eliminate your fastball. That'll make that changeup a lot easier to hit.
And when Sean beat the Yankees as a member of the Angels on July the 20th, that's what the Yankees were talking about. His great changeup. Nick Swisher homered against Sean O'Sullivan in the first inning. That was during Sullivan's win against New York, but that was all the Yankees could put together against O'Sullivan. Really settled in beginning in the 2nd inning. And that is belted to deep right field. Meyer, with the sun in his eyes, makes the catch right in front of the bullpen. Bullpen coach Steve Foster is putting the gear on, not because he's getting ready to warm someone up here in the top of the 1st inning, but apparently during the rain delays last night, the long rain delays, he made a deal with the guys in the bullpen that if they could hold the Yankees scoreless after all of those rain delays, he would wear the gear for the entire game tonight.
I would say that would normally be comfortable for him if he was a catcher, but being a pitcher, he's probably going to be uncomfortable as long as that sun is shining in the bullpen.
And now Teixeira reaching for the changeup, pops it up, and Kendall makes the play where he dropped one late in the game last night, and O'Sullivan gets all 3 in the 1st inning. lineup tonight, presented by M&I Bank. Gregor Blanco, Jason Kendall, and Billy Butler at the top of the order. And Wilson Betemit, Keila Kaihue, and Alex Gordon in the middle. And then the bottom of the order, which we've been talking about, Yuniesky Betancourt, Mitch Meyer, and Chris Getz is starting at second base tonight. Facing right-hander Phil Hughes, here's a look at the Kia report.
One thing that should excite Royal hitters at a high ERA against the Royals, 7.71. He is 5-2 on the road, and that works to his advantage, but he's only gone into the 7th inning just once in his last 8 starts.
And when he beat the Royals back in July, he only went 5 1/3 innings and gave up 3 runs. He got great run support in that game. The Yankees ended up winning 12-6 in a game that featured what else? A long rain delay. This is game number 7 between the two teams this year, and in the first 6 games, we've had a combined 6 hours and 38 minutes of rain delays. 1 ball, 1 strike on Gregor Blanco. It has cooled down, but just a little bit. 90 degrees at first pitch. Game started at 6:10. Time and temp brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. A couple of games ago, Gregor Blanco had to leave at the end of 5 innings because of heat exhaustion and dehydration, but bounced back last night, had hits in his first 2 at-bats, and stole 3 bases in the game.
Sounds like a leadoff hitter to me.
Royals ended up with 4 stolen bases against Yankee pitchers and Jorge Posada. Left center and shallow, Granderson and Gardner are both there, and it's Brett Gardner with the play, 1 down. So the shadow's not just affecting the hitters early in the game, but you had one guy in the sunlight, one guy coming over from the shadows.
Well, that was you got 2 center fielders playing out there, Ryan, and they're going to cover a lot more ground. And I think Curtis Granderson's got to realize how much range Gardner has in left field. He's probably used to going over in left field catching those balls, but with Gardner's speed, you don't have to go quite as far.
It looked like, too, the first frames of that last replay that they were both calling for it at the same time, and one guy can drown out the other one if they're both saying, "I got it," at the exact same time.
And no one wants to look at the other one.
This is right to Granderson, so doesn't have to worry about Brett Gardner this time. And Kendall is out, number 2. Here are the Yankees defensively. They have the 2nd fewest errors in the American League this year. Gardner, Granderson, and Swisher in the outfield. Ramiro Pena will be at third base. Alex Rodriguez will be the designated hitter tonight. And Jorge Posada is behind the plate again. Yankees have not committed an error in the first 2 games of this series. So Blanco and Kendall are down, and now Billy Butler. Billy with 2 hits against Phil Hughes, including a double back on July the 25th. Homered off the right field foul pole in the bottom of the 5th inning last night. Not only hit the foul pole, he hit Austin Kearns right in the forehead. I know you watched last night, and that must have hurt in your living room.
Oh, it really is not funny, but I tell you, but you don't see that. I mean, in all the years I've been here, I've never seen that. And, you know, this is when you concede a home run to a hitter, not thinking he's going to hit the foul pole. And how many times does it hit off the foul pole and bounce in that direction to the point where he doesn't have a chance to get his glove up? Now, he done gave up on it right here, and all of a sudden here it comes off the pole, and he's not able to get his glove back up. So it was an interesting play. I'm glad he's okay, though.
And of all the guys, too, we were talking last night, Kearns is a former first-round pick of the Reds, and because of some severe injuries, just hasn't quite put together the career that the Reds were hoping for. He's been on the disabled list 7 times, 6 times because of either surgery or a broken bone. So he's a bad luck dude as it is. He takes one right up the forehead. Driven to deep left center field. Billy Butler hits it off the top of the wall and will cruise into second base with a 2-out double. We missed a home run by about a foot.
Billy does a good job of taking this curveball. This curveball didn't come across the plate. It backed up down the inside half of the plate, and Billy does a good job of clearing his hip, getting his head on top of it, and driving this ball to left center field. Just by fate, this ball didn't go out of the ballpark. Just great follow-through, great concentration. And Gardner had a little bit of trouble, but that's a double all the way.
And now Bedemeat grounds it into center field. Here comes Billy around third base. And the Royals are going to take a 1-0 lead in the first inning. Bedemeat picks up his 4th hit of the series.
Right, when you talk about CNI base hits, this is a CNI base hit. This ball's not hit very well at all, but it just in a great spot on the field, up the middle. Nobody can get it, and Billy Butler scores easily from center field on this ball.
So another inning this year with the Royals score run after 2 outs and nobody on. Sean O'Sullivan will take the mound in the second inning with the lead. Ball 1 to Kila Kaihue. Just 4 out of 35 if you combine his 2 stints with the Royals this year. 1 out of 6 in this series. He has walked twice, and he had 88 of those at AAA.
I think that's one of the things that I kind of look at with Keela right now at this point is the walks and the on-base percentage, and that gives you a good indication that when he started to get playing time here, maybe he's just trying to do a little too much too soon, trying to impress too soon, and therefore you get out of your swing, you start letting that front shoulder drift out in front of you, and then that when you get your fastball, you get under it, but you got to stay back, you got to let the ball come to you, and you got to trust your hands to do what they need to do. And this at bat here, he's showing the Kila Kahui type patience that he normally has.
The 88 walks is just astounding. I mean, the American League leader is 70. So even with Kila spending some time in the big leagues, I mean, 88 walks, if he did that at this level, he'd be ahead by 18.
Well, and this is the kind of eye that he has, and this ball is 2 balls off the plate, and he just takes it, but he's just staying back. He's not trying to rush out. He's not trying to overswing. He's just trying to let the ball come to him, and he's seeing it a lot longer and a lot better.
Mark Teixeira with another Gold Glove play in this series. That's the way it goes right now if you're Kila Kaihue. So the Royals get 1 run, and Teixeira stops perhaps a big inning. exciting new Fiesta. See it today at Thoroughbred Ford. 1-0 Royals. Wilson Bettamy driving in Billy Butler. And then Mark Teixeira making sure that it was just a one-run inning with a great play on a high chopper from Keila Kaihue. So Sean Sullivan, who retired the side in order, gets Alex Rodriguez, Robinson Cano, and Jorge Posada. Alex Rodriguez with just 2 hits in the first 2 games. He has driven in 2. He has 2 doubles against O'Sullivan this year. And Sean is going to pitch him inside. It's 2-0. 92 runs driven in for Rodriguez. Second in the American League, working on his 13th consecutive 100 RBI season. And hit very hard to center field. And a leadoff single. So the Yankees have their first runner. And now it's Robinson Cano, and we go back down to Joel.
Well, Ryan, Robinson Cano having a heck of a year. He owes a lot to his father, who named him after Jackie Robinson. His dad, Jose, pitched just 6 games with the Astros back in 1989, but what he also did for his son was when teams came calling for Robinson as he was a kid, they were offering him a $20,000 bonus to sign, and his dad held out. Yankees ended up paying him $150,000. As a rookie in 2005, he started out 2 for 23, and Joe Torre said, just keep on swinging. He got 2 hits the next day, hit .297 on the season, and then the season after that, in 06, batted .342 and won the Silver Slugger. Last year, ended up 17th in MVP voting. This year, he's going to be a lot higher, and I saw a quote in Sports Illustrated from Kevin Millwood, who described Robinson Cano like this: he hits the ball in, he hits the ball out, he hits the ball up, and he hits the ball down. That's a hitter without a lot of weaknesses, guys.
We were talking to Joe Girardi, the manager of the Yankees, before the game tonight about a variety of subjects, and when we got to Robinson Cano, he simply said the kid plays every day. And when a manager says that, that's just not in the lineup every day. That means he plays hard and he plays well every day.
And that makes the manager's job easy. You had a guy that comes to the park every day prepared to play, knowing that his teammates depend on him to be out there, and he does everything that is possible to be on the field every day. And we also found out that, you know, in the uniform, he wears the kind of baggy. You really don't know how well developed this guy is, but he had his little practice shirt on, and man, he's from the waist up, he's built pretty good.
Put together. Looks like he could be an NFL safety, strong safety. Third year for Joe Girardi, and in year number 2, helped the Yankees win their 27th World Championship. Cano 4th in the league, batting at .326. And Sean O'Sullivan thinks that Alex Rodriguez is going to take off. Rodriguez, by the way, has stolen 3, and he's been thrown out 3 times. And Cano goes down to get it and golfs it into right field. Meyer at the fence again. So we've seen 3 balls tonight on a warm night where the ball is not carrying. Swisher in the top of the first. Billy Butler just missed a home run in the bottom of the first to left center. And how did this ball stay in the ballpark?
And this is a curveball, and he got good extension on it. It stayed up in the zone, and all he and Swish are doing right now is saying, why aren't we playing at home? Because they really hit these balls a ton. And you kind of pointed out, too, early in the first inning with O'Sullivan, even though he got Jeter on that changeup, all of his pitches really are kind of up in the zone. The curveball staying up, the fastball, and the changeup. So he wants that changeup to go down and away, and he wants that curveball to be below the knee when it gets to home plate.
You know, it goes somewhat unnoticed because he makes it look easy, but those are tough plays for Mitch Meyer. He has to fight the sun more than anyone right now in right field, with it setting off to the left field side, and knowing the dimensions, knowing how much room he has, knowing how big the track is, and making 2 plays right in front of the fence.
Yeah, what outfielders like to do, they like to go out there and they like to pace that off. Once they hit the track, how many steps do I have before I hit the wall? And they try to do it as close to full speed as possible so they'll know for sure, so they'll be in the right stride. So if they know that once they hit it, they got 2 steps before they hit the track, then it makes a lot of difference in their approach when they get to the wall.
Jorge Posada was not in the lineup on Thursday and was 0 for 4 last night. Posada will certainly go down as one of the great Yankee catchers of all time, and he's moving up on 17th on the Yankees all-time hit list, and he would tie another great Yankee catcher, Thurman Munson. Laid off the changeup, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, Thurman Munson was a fun guy to watch play, Ryan. This is a catcher that could run. He hit for power, hit for average. He could hit situationally, but when he caught, it's almost like he had a shortstop catching. He didn't have a strong arm, but when he threw down to second base, he acted like he was trying to double play. So he was throwing guys out halfway to second base sometimes because the ball would run back down the line. But he had very, very quick hands.
Rodriguez runs, and Posada fouls it off of his foot.
You know, when he was catching, he had great recognition of what hitters were trying to do. I remember one night I was going to drag bunt to third base, and when I dropped the bat to bunt, he had already stepped on my foot and was going out to get the ball. That's just how quick he was, and that's how well he anticipated.
And as one of the elite players in the American League, tragically died during an off day in a plane crash, a plane that he was piloting, I believe, in his native Ohio. Rodriguez runs again. Posada just barely got a piece of it, so we stay at 3 balls, 2 strikes.
This is Sean O'Sullivan's bread and butter pitch here is this changeup. And then one thing he has to remember as he goes down deeper in the game is every time he gets ahead 2 strikes, if they realize he's going to throw that changeup all the time, they're going to start looking for it. So he's going to have to start finishing some of these guys off with 2 strikes with fastballs.
That might be the dirtiest helmet in baseball.
From spring training to the end of the season, all pine tar.
It is a helmet / pine tar rag. And the Yankees, of course, they've had a long reputation of this is how you wear your uniform. You have to be cleanly shaven. And so you hardly ever see anything with the NY that is as grungy as that is. But Posada does not wear batting gloves, so if he needs a little extra sticky on his hands, he'll just grab his batting helmet. Rodriguez runs again. Posada takes ball 4.
Well, that was one of the things that got George Bretta in trouble in the pine tar game. And he didn't wear batting gloves either, but he had this pine tar, and he had a habit of between pitches taking his bat and just rubbing his hands on it. And between the pine tar and the dirt accumulation, that's how his bat got to be as dirty as it was. And at home, there was a guy that would take alcohol and clean it off for him, but on the road, you didn't have that guy. And Billy Martin was smart enough to recognize it.
Now look at that helmet. Look at the difference between that helmet. You can see the reflection of downtown Kansas City on his helmet.
You could probably sell one helmet and put the other in the garage.
Posada's helmet is a reflection of the bottom of the Missouri River. Look at that, Frank. I mean,
that's between pitches, putting your hand up there and dirt combined.
He went around. No balls, 2 strikes on Granderson, who batted 8th on Thursday, 2nd last night, and 7th tonight. Alex Rodriguez is singled. Robinson Cano is flied to the wall in right field. And Jorge Posada has walked. And that all-important inning right after your team scores, you want to make sure you hang a 0 on the scoreboard, but the Yankees are back with 2 on and 1 out. Sean O'Sullivan still just 22 years old. Got him. Strikeout number 2.
Sean's done a great job really disguising his changeup, Ryan. He just, that one's 82 miles an hour, some are 80 miles an hour, and he just does a good job just squirting it right out of there.
And now he gets Brett Gardner. Bob McClure saying that what the Royals would like to see from O'Sullivan is a little more pitch efficiency. His high pitch counts have driven him out of games early, averaging less than 6 innings per start with the Royals and the Angels this year. And a slider is in for strike 1. Now he calls that pitch a slider, but it really tumbles like a curveball. And he will throw it at different speeds. That was more of what they call a get it over curveball, not trying to get him to swing and miss, just jump ahead with strike 1.
Yeah, his curveball usually around 70, 78. That's around 83, 84 sometimes, and it'd be more like a slider to me also, Ryan. But the thing that he throws those three different speeds with the slider, the changeup, and the curveball, and if he overthrows the curveball, it could look like that pitch. That's almost like a curveball grip right there. It's going to roll right off the top of his hands, but it didn't really have the break of a curveball.
Runners go, and it's swung on a miss. Boy, the Yankees really picked up either on O'Sullivan's timing or maybe not paying attention to the runners, because Rodriguez and Posada both got great jumps.
Well, when you see that they stole third base, that makes it even more important that they found something on Sean. And it's basically not paying attention. You have to go back and see if he's checking. He just kept walking. No one ever stopped him. They had a walking lead, and that made it real easy for him to steal third base. So that tells me that Sean didn't look back and make him stop before he threw the pitch to the plate.
Popped up the left field line, foul. Gardner just trying to make contact with 2 strikes, almost ended up with 2 RBIs. While we have a moment, tonight's number for our Take the Field sweepstakes is 28. If you'd like to win a pair of replica Royals jerseys, go to foxsportskansascity.com during tonight's game and enter the sweepstakes, including the number 28. There's a jersey winner every game. Yankees number 28 is manager Joe Girardi. And the Royals number 28 is Kyle Davies. In the dirt, blocked by Kendall. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Actually, Kyle has switched to number 34. I take that back. Looking at the list of Royals who were number 28. So that was Kyle's number. Ken Harvey was number 28. And Veda Pinson was number 28. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, you guys had some great numbers on number 3 last night. I was listening to that on TV. Some great names came out of that. That was fun. Homer Killebrew, Joy Gorda. That was real nice. Steve Braun was another guy we had who wore number 3. That was a real good pinch hitter for us here.
Yeah, Split did most of the heavy lifting on that one. Another changeup and another strikeout, and the Yankees leave runners at second and third in the second. That's a better idea in April, isn't it?
They should have said, let's wait till Sunday.
Well, now that Jose Guillen has been officially traded to the Giants, tonight's Sprint You Call It asks of the current Royals who will lead in home runs. Billy Butler leads with 11, hitting that last night. Then Yuniesky Betancourt with 10. Alex has 4 of his 5 since his recall. And Wilson Betemit has 4. Text 432-432, enter keyword Royals, then a space, A, B, C, or D, standard text rates apply. And Alex has hit those 4 home runs in just 14 games. In this series, 2 out of 8 with the double and a couple of runs scored. The Yankees have also struck him out 4 times. That's a broken bat. It's never a good thing when the bat goes farther than the ball, but that's what happened there, and Alex is out number 1.
Ryan, this is just not picking up the ball right here. This ball is balling off the plate, in on his hands, and Alex really had to pull his hands in to try to hit this ball. He had no idea what his ball is. If you watch his eyes, his head goes up, and the ball goes right to the mound. So that's what you call just not seeing the ball. And that's when you get your whatever in the old days they say you get your thumbs broke on balls like that.
Wow. And it's easy to go back and say, man, what did I do wrong there? And it's embarrassing to get your bat shattered like that. I mean, the bat went all the way to Robinson Cano and the ball barely got to the mound. But the simplest solution is don't swing at that pitch.
Well, that's the simplest solution. Then again, you don't want to go to the video room and watch that swing.
No.
You want to say, look, I'm swung at a bad pitch. Forget about it. Don't go rewatch that because nothing good can come of it.
Maybe take that bat, take it home tonight, bury it in the backyard, or maybe use it for this fall when it's
you got a
fireplace season. Yeah. Have some fun with it. 1 and 2 on Betancourt. Remember, if you send in a text tonight and You Call It, you're going to get a bounce back text message, which will give you instructions on how you can enter for a chance to win a suite here at Kauffman Stadium for you and 11 guests. You can also go to sprint.com/sponsorships/sports. In on the hands again. Betancourt pops it up. And Teixeira to the line, over the line, and makes the play in foul territory. Tonight's game is on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces serving in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea. And they're watching around the world in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, and Japan. And we hope our broadcast will make you feel a little closer to home tonight. Mitch Meyer 0 for 6 in the series. He has scored a run and is down to 259 overall.
The one thing that Phil Hughes has showed me tonight, Ryan, is he knows how to pitch inside without hitting the batter, without making the batter move his feet, but just pitching in that little window that's good enough to jam a guy. And the pitch looks good to the hitter, but it's off the plate.
Across the knees, 2 balls, 1 strike.
You take a look here as Chevrolet brings us Fox tracks. This ball is down right on the lower half of the plate on the outer half, and if he can stay right there and pitch both sides of the plate, that's what's going to make him tough.
You know, he also looks like he has some deception, Frank. Really kind of short arms the ball. Doesn't have a nice long arm swing where the hitter can follow the ball coming out of his hand. He just kind of cocks his arm down behind his ribs and almost throws it like a catcher going down to second base. Real quick release.
Yeah, that's what I was going to refer to also, Ryan, is he throws just like a catcher right behind the right ear. And he, like you say, it just comes right over the shoulder, a real quick arm, and that's going to make that fastball appear a lot faster. And you take an idea what that pitch was, and that's that zone. I mean, he's got it down right now, and it looks good to the hitter, but it's the ball, if they hit it well, you're probably going to hit it foul.
And Mitch walks with 2 outs. Well, the Royals' run in the bottom of the first inning came with 2 outs and nobody on. Butler doubled. Betemid got him home. And now runner at first with 2 down in the second inning. Tomorrow's the final game of this series. It's also Hoops and Yo-Yo Day at the K, presented by Hallmark in celebration of their centennial. Royals fans can get up close and personal with Hoops and Yo-Yo, Hallmark's popular dynamic duo, as they take in the game here at Kauffman Stadium. That's a 1:10 game tomorrow.
Would that be hula hoops and yo-yos, or what kind of hoops are we talking about?
It's I think they're kind of like cartoon characters. Slow roller to Jeter, and the flip to Cano to end the inning. Chris Getz is 0 for 1. Mobile broadband network. AT&T, rethink possible. By Panera Bread, explore a menu of hearty soups, salads, sandwiches, and breakfast items at Panera Bread. And by Chevrolet, come see for yourself why 1,000 people a day are switching to Chevy. Poor Steve Foster, although maybe it was his bet, the deal he was cutting with the relievers last night, that led to their performance with 4 scoreless innings out of the bullpen. And if you weren't with us earlier, Steve Foster, with all the long rain delays, and of course it totaled over 2 hours and 40 minutes. So we were well into the night working on the next day by the time the game resumed. And he made a deal with the relievers and said, if you don't give up a run the rest of the game, and the Royals had a 4-3 lead, I will wear the catcher's gear, full catcher's gear, for the entire game tomorrow, meaning tonight. And there he is. You think he's going to need a shower after the game tonight?
He's pretty smart. He's over in the corner next to the water cooler. So he's getting out of as much sun as possible. He's got the water cooler sitting right next to him. So he's pretty smart. But it would be tough if they said, now you can't lift the mask up to spit. Now, that would be tough.
Well, we're going to go through the list from the second third of the season before the game tomorrow. So this is officially the final third of the season. And we might have our first addition to that group.
That's almost like the approach that Scott Passegnan had when he tried to hit the ball to the shortstop on the ground.
The operative word being almost. I think the closest similarity I could see between that swing and Scott Passegna's slash is that both guys are left-hand hitters. Another good changeup. That's 4 strikeouts for Sean O'Sullivan. And now he struck out the last 3.
Well, that's his pitch, Ryan. And the thing is to be able to disguise it, and he's doing a good job of disguising it with his fastball. And then this changeup does a better job of moving down and away from a left-handed hitter.
Jeter opened the game striking out on that pitch. This time jumps on the slider and fouls it away. Tonight's league leaders are brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers and league leaders in runs scored. Derek Jeter, the Yankees leadoff man, and Mark Teixeira, who is 3rd in the league in walks. They're on base quite a bit. The Yankees are getting them home. And a little bit further down the list is Robinson Cano. He would be tied for 6th. And everywhere he goes, there are females all over the stadium with cameras. Past Betancourt and into left field. Jeter's 5th hit of the series.
It's going to be interesting to see the second time through what kind of adjustments the Yankee hitters make. And here's his curveball that Jeter sits on and hits this ball solid as if he was looking for it, Ryan. And Yuniesky does a good job of diving for this ball, but some balls you got to stay on your feet and just try to catch the ball. Even if he stops this ball, he's not going to have a play at first base. So that's just one of those situations to save yourself a little energy.
Joe Girardi had some good things to say about Yuniesky Betancourt and his ability as a shortstop before the game today.
Just gave him a lot of praise. I mean, guys who've been in the game a while, we don't always go by what the numbers, on base percentage. We don't get so much into that. But you can look at guys and say the guy can play. And the one thing Yuniesky Betancourt can do, he can play. He's quietly put together a pretty good season. He had 51 RBI.
And it was unsolicited. I mean, Joe Girardi brought it up. We didn't ask him his opinion.
I mean, he liked his athletic ability. He liked the way he moved at shortstop. And, you know, you hear so many bad things about a guy, and all of a sudden he's having a good year. But you have to have the ability to see a guy get better. And you cannot say that Yuniesky Betancourt over last season hasn't gotten better.
And there are different ways to measure defense, but my personal opinion is I'd like to hear the opinion of a guy who has won Manager of the Year. He's won a World Series. He had a long career. I'm more interested in his opinion of a player than some guy watching the game on his computer in Toledo.
I agree. And he really was interested in the Royals minor league system. He wanted to know if we had, you know, some players coming up. And I think he's genuinely concerned about the team and where the team is going and what the future is going to look like. And we gave him a little rundown of some of the guys in our minor league system that we thought would be here the next couple of years. And he was pretty impressed by it.
Nick Swisher has hit one of 3 balls tonight that looked like a home run on contact, but just didn't quite have enough tonight because of the big ballpark and a wind that appears to be blowing in. Jeter runs. Kendall's throw is wide. Jeter has his 13th stolen base, and the Yankees have their 3rd in 3 innings.
But Derek Jeter shows no signs, Ryan, of slowing down. He goes in, he takes a little quick peek in to see where the pitch is, and he makes it easily in the second base. So they really have picked something up on Sean O'Sullivan, and they're really taking advantage of it right now.
Swisher lining out to deep right in the first inning, taking Mitch Meyer to the fence in front of the Royals bullpen. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes. And in the second inning, Robinson Cano took Meyer to almost the exact same spot. In the bottom of the first inning, Billy Butler just missed a home run, hitting it high up the wall in left center field. Wouldn't go for the changeup. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
That's the one thing a veteran team will do. They'll see you the first time through, and then you go that second time through, they'll see if you're going to make some adjustments. They're going to look more on speed, I believe, the second time through to see if you're going to make some adjustments and throw maybe more fastballs in 2-strike situations. Right now, Sean hasn't made that adjustment, so he's just relying on making a good pitch with his changeup and see if that'll get him by and get him a ground ball.
This is the second time through for the Yankees. And we stay at 3-2. Yankees in this series have been getting their hits, but they've struggled with runners in scoring position. That is just foul and would have easily tied the game. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes.
We've had some close calls so far this season down that right field line, but that ball there is clearly foul. It has to go over. It can go over the bag and land foul and still be a fair ball, but that one was clearly foul going past first base.
The Yankees last night were 3 out of 15 with runners in scoring position. And in the series now, 4 out of 26. And that includes an 0 for 2 tonight. Jeter down at second base, 1 out. And Swisher walks to put 2 on for Mark Teixeira.
You know, you can look at that stat, Ryan, and you can say, well, Rawls pitchers aren't doing a very good job of keeping the Yankees off the bases, but in key situations, they've been able to do a great job of making the pitch they need to make to keep them scoring, going across home plate. But you can only live like that so long before that catches up with you. So you have to start not putting yourself in this situation and give them a chance to have big innings.
And the pitch count goes up. And we talked last inning about how the Royals love how Sean O'Sullivan competes. And we're talking about a 22-year-old. Good feel for pitching, good feel for all of his pitches. But if there's one thing they would like to see improve between now and the end of the year, contact earlier in plate appearances. He is at 51 pitches right now. And missed badly with that changeup. May have missed with his footing. He has thrown strike one to 7 of the 12 hitters he has faced. He got Mark Teixeira on a foul out to Kendall in the first inning. Teixeira just 1 out of 9 in the series. One ball, one strike.
Well, Sean O'Sullivan in his last start, Ryan, was 17 for 30 in first pitch strikes. And so that kind of gets you in trouble because you're going to be deep in the counts, and you can see here, 45% fastball, 20% breaking ball. So he is throwing his fastball, but you got to throw it for a strike and to make your breaking balls that much more effective. But right now I see he's finishing with his off speed, and they're going to adjust to that at some point. So you have to adjust with his fastball.
And that missed outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. And 45%, that's not a lot. I mean, maybe if you're Jamie Moyer and your fastball is in the low 80s, but Sullivan can get it. That last pitch at 92, he can get it up to 94. You'd like to see more fastballs from a guy like that, wouldn't you?
I would. I mean, especially you play the game of you can pitch one way through, and you can go to another way the second time through. See if they've made some adjustments. It's a cat and mouse game.
And 3 balls, 1 strike on Teixeira.
It looks like Sean wants to pitch backwards in these situations, Ryan. But when you pitch backwards, the key thing is you have to have command of that off-speed pitch when you throw it. You want to be able to get it over the plate and get the hitter to chase. If you go to deep counts with the off-speed, then you got to stay with it, or you got to throw the fastball.
And it's popped up on 3-1. He went with the fastball. Infield fly rule. So Getz make the play. And now the Yankees in the series are 4 out of 27 with runners in scoring position.
Well, Ryan, this is what you have to do. You have to change up. You got to throw your fastball as a finishing pitch from time to time, so you can go back to what you really want to throw is your changeup.
A mixture of cheers and boos for Alex Rodriguez. He singled and stole third in the second inning. And comes up with Jeter at second, Swisher at first, 2 down. And Rodriguez takes strike 1.
Yeah, lifetime 325 against the Royals with 41 home runs, 113 RBI. That's a pretty good career against one ball club.
Very first major league home run against KC, against Tom Gordon back in 1995. And of course his 500th home run against the Royals and Kyle Davies in 2007. Up and in, and the count is 0-2.
So that can only help but think that Alex is sitting off speed, and this fastball, look at this swing here, Ryan. This is a real late swing, and I have to think he was sitting on maybe an off-speed pitch in that situation.
Go back in there again?
I would. I mean, you got to change it. If you go right to your breaking ball, sometimes you don't have. He has thrown a changeup 0-2 tonight, but I would go back with the same fastball up and have it run in on him and see what happens.
That's exactly where Kendall sets up and he strikes him out. So the Yankees are 0 for 4 tonight with runners in scoring position. The Royals to help commemorate the 65th anniversary of the end of World War II, where he was a prisoner of war for 6 months and was awarded 2 Purple Hearts and French Legion of Honor after retiring from 30 years of working at General Motors. Frank started volunteering at the Veterans Administration Hospital, where he recently surpassed 10,000 hours of community service and then 3,000 more hours at St. Luke's Hospital. So welcome to Frank as the Royals lead 1-0. Gregor Blanco grounds out to second base. He is 0 for 2. Royals run coming in the bottom of the first inning with 2 outs and the base is empty. Billy Butler doubled. And then Wilson Betemit singled him home. Now, are those the old ammonia towels?
Those are ammonia towels right there. They put it on the back of your neck and then they put it in your face and have you breathe it in. Try to open your sinuses up.
And it gets all the grass stains off, right?
Well, I used to. What I used to do is I used to put it down above my wrist, and then it really, you could feel it cooling your arms off, and you get a lot cooler that way. And then when you take it out, you just feel so much more refreshed.
0-2 on Jason Kendall, out in a line drive to center field in the first inning. One ball, 2 strikes. The Royals have had 3 base runners in the first 2 innings. One has come around to score. The Yankees have had 4 base runners, 3 of which in scoring position in their 3 innings, and have come up empty so far.
Hey, Ron, I saw a stat on Jason. When the Royals brought Jason in, they knew that home runs weren't going to be part of his game, not a big part of his game. But I saw a stat that said he's only had 8 home runs since the start of the 2005 season. That's like 111 games, 407 at-bats. Now, is he due?
Yeah, I would say so. I remember during the welcome home luncheon this year, and I was talking to Scott Posednik back in 05. He didn't hit a single home run all year, and then hit 1 in the first round against the Angels, and then hit a walk-off home run in the World Series. And when it came time to come around and talk to Jason Kendall, before he answered the question I asked, he said, well, first of all, I want to say it's okay to go a whole season without hitting a home run, because he has done that on more than one occasion. At one point, he went 961 at-bats and 247 games without a home run. And at the time, that was back in 06. That was the longest active streak in the major leagues, and he broke it against the Royals. And his dad, Fred, was part of the coaching staff. And Kendall has never been a big power hitter in his career, but we're not talking about someone who has been like this his whole career. He's had as many as 14 home runs in a season. That was a long time ago. That was 2000. In 98, he had 12 home runs. In 2001, he had 10 home runs. And just 2 last year with the Brewers. Three balls, 2 strikes.
Now, the Brewers playing a hitter-friendly ballpark, and the ball travels well there too. So it tells me that Jason has just altered his swing to where he basically just wants to try to hit the ball up the middle, right field, and not try to pull the ball and try to drive the ball as much.
Pops it up, and Jeter backpedals to the grass. There are 2 down. That was a 10-pitch at bat for Kendall. So if anything, he made Hughes spend some pitches, and that brings up Billy Butler. .44 pitches right now in 2 2/3 innings. 1 win, 1 loss for Phil Hughes against the Royals in his career. This is his 5th appearance, but his ERA is over 7. Fastball over the outside for strike 1. Billy just missed hitting another home run in the bottom of the 1st inning tonight. Hit it high up the wall in left center field for a double, and then scored on Wilson Beteme's single. Breaks his bat, it hits Hughes on the leg, rolls back towards home plate, but he still has time to throw him out. Royals are done in the 3rd inning. Tonight's Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison. Phil Hughes up to 96, Sean O'Sullivan up to 95. Now fast is even faster. Double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. Robinson Cano, then Jorge Posada and Curtis Granderson in the 4th inning. Cano is a very good low ball hitter, or as Joel described it early in the game, he hits everything hard, but particularly the ball down and in, like a lot of left-hand hitters. And he got a curveball down and in the 2nd inning, and took a moment after he made contact as if he was admiring a blast to right field, and it would have been at Yankee Stadium, but not here. Mitch Meyer made the catch up against the fence in front of the Royals bullpen.
Yeah, just forgot where he was playing for a minute.
2 balls, 1 strike, and that was the 2nd drive to right field that came up just a little bit short. In the 1st inning, Nick Swisher got a pitch up, and Meyer right in front of the fence. And see Cano looking at it. Wait a minute, I might want to get going. And Meyer again back to the chain link fence to make the catch. Line to left and right at Alex Gordon. So Cano is 0 for 2. The NFL is back with 2 Fox preseason specials beginning on Thursday as Tom Brady and the Patriots take on the Falcons. Then on Friday, the Eagles begin life without Donovan McNabb as they take on Ocho Cinco, T.O., and the Bengals. Both games start at 7 p.m. in high definition, only on Fox. One strike on Jorge Posada. You think Marvin Lewis has his hands full in that locker room?
I would say Carson Thomas.
Keeping those two guys happy at the same time?
I noticed they highlighted the 2 wide receivers, but not the quarterback. He's probably happy they're there, and he's probably hoping everything goes well.
One ball, 2 strikes on Posada, who walked his first time up. Talking about Jorge Posada's helmet. There's Vladimir Guerrero's helmet. Another guy who doesn't wear pine tar. Doug Minkiewicz, when he was with the Royals, and we remember him with the Twins, same thing, no batting gloves. So trying to get a better grip on the bat, especially tonight when it's hot and humid. Hand gets sweaty. Just grab the helmet for a little pine tar. You don't have to go back to the on-deck circle. Reaching and fouls away the changeup.
Well, when Sean O'Sullivan throws his changeup, Ryan, this is exactly what he wants it to do. He has good arm speed. You can see how it goes down and away from Posada. He's got to reach for it, and that's the swing he wants the Yankee hitters to take on that changeup. But I would give Posada's helmet the nod as being the dirtiest. You can see the T on Vladimir Guerrero's hat. You can't. This has got to be the worst.
Well, Posada's been around for a while. But yeah, I'm a little surprised, as proud as the Yankee organization is of their pinstripes and their logo, that someone hasn't made him at least clean off the NY. In the air to right center field. Both Meyer and Blanco want it. Blanco has priority as the center fielder. And there are 2 outs.
Well, you see both outfielders right there, Ryan. Both of them are watching the ball. Neither one of them watch each other. When the ball that high, one of them's got to take the eye off and check out the other guy. So you got both guys calling at the same time, and eventually the guy that yells the loudest is going to get the ball. But with a ball that high, one's got to check. You also notice, too, on that ball there, that was a changeup that Posada hit, so that might be a good indication to Jason Kendall that he may have to start finishing off with the fastball. At least go fastball on one pitch with 2 strikes, and then come back to the changeup rather than going right to the changeup. And we're going to call this a slurve.
There we go.
It's in between the sliders, in between the curveball.
That's a good compromise. Alex back to the track and left to make the play. So the outfield has been busy, but the Yankees are scoreless.
Another changeup.
It's rubbed off on the starting pitcher as Sean O'Sullivan has 4 scoreless innings so far tonight. Well, we hope you'll come out to Kauffman Stadium on Tuesday. The first 20,000 fans will receive the winning fan vote T-shirt presented by Sprint. This is the 6th of our 7 T-shirt Tuesdays throughout the season. So be sure to get your tickets now and add to your collection. You can just go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS. That's the first of 3 games with the Cleveland Indians. And then after that, the Chicago White Sox are in for 3. The Royals are playing their longest homestand of the year. Wilson Betemit has driven in the only run with 2 outs in the first inning. Grounded a single into center field, scoring Billy Butler. And Wilson snaps his bat and has a leadoff single. So 2 for 2 tonight and 5 out of 8 in the series.
Take a look at Hughes here. They get this ball right in that inside zone again. That's three broken bats, but Betemit got enough strength to get this ball out over the infield. But this bat shatters on that fastball inside. One of the better jobs of pitching inside that I've seen by a pitcher all year.
Bats are starting to break again, a lot. Have you noticed that?
Those maple bats, probably.
Yeah. I think we need some more field tests.
Well, they put those little black dots on the side they want you to hit the ball on, but they're still breaking.
Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, if you go down tomorrow to batting practice, just look at the bats, and they'll have a little black dot, and that means that someone's come in, looked at them, and said, okay, this is the best side. Now, that bat there that we're seeing right there, well, that's an ash bat, and they will crack, but they don't shatter. The bat on top there, that's a Louisville Slugger made of white ash, and they hold together. They don't fly across the infield like those maple bats.
And because the maple bats are harder, so there's less flex.
And some guys say they break from the inside. You know, they explode from the inside out, which I don't really know enough about them. I know a lot of guys use them. You know, Keela Kahui right there, he's using one. And they just, they're harder, but they also, you can hit the ball on the sweet spot of the bat, and they'll still break, too.
Still 0-2 on Keela, who hit a high bouncer in the first inning. It looked like it was going to bounce over Mark Teixeira, but he went jumping up, plucked it out of the sky, and took a hit away from Keela. And that little guy will be smiling the rest of the night, maybe the rest of the weekend. Cano goes to second. Jeter, quick turn, not in time. So Betemit doing a good job of stopping and not running into the tag, and that helped prevent the double play.
You're right, and Robinson Cano just knew right away what he was going to do here, Ryan. He didn't want to mess with the base runner coming down. He wanted to try to turn a double play and went right to Jeter right away. And Keela did a good job hustling down the line. But you can see there on that swing, he was way out front, kind of lunging. So he just got to stay back and just let the ball come to him and just try not to do too much at the plate.
On the topic of broken bats, Alex Gordon had his bat shattered by Phil Hughes in the second inning. And a ground ball back to Hughes with the business end of the bat going all the way out to second baseman Cano.
They just got to lay off that ball inside. Just got to recognize it being a strike on the inside part of the plate. And one thing that happens when you get pounded inside like that is you're so conscious inside that the outside becomes the pitcher's outside corner.
Inside, almost hit him on the knee. In the Sprint You Call It, we asked you of the current Royals who will lead the team in home runs. 64% going with Billy Butler, followed by 17% from Alex, who has 5 more to catch Betancourt and 6 more to go to get to Butler. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So Alex, it looked like he was looking for a fastball on that 2-1 pitch.
Well, I think he's probably thinking inside, and as Quick Trip brings us Fox tracks here, you can see it's on the outside corner. By going inside like that, unless the hitter's thinking right with the pitcher, inside, outside, then they're just really going back and forth with him, and now they're going to double up on the outside corner.
Just a little low. Too close for comfort if you're Frank White, who almost went squirming out of the booth.
Well, it's almost. I don't want to give that. I don't want to give that pitch to the umpire. Not to call on me right there. That's just a little too close. That's foul ball territory there, and that's one that can go either way.
Keela runs, and Alex lifts it to left field. Gardner over to the line and makes the catch for out number 2. And that brings up Yuniesky Betancourt. 0 for 1 tonight with a foul out to first base. Uni, typically a number 9 hitter, but because of the way he's swinging the bat now, and the Royals searching for some answers on offense, he has been moved up in the order. On Thursday, he batted 5th and back to number 9 last night, hitting 7th tonight.
Well, the one thing he's going to give you, an aggressive at bat, and I think that's what Nadios looks for. If you make a mistake, he's going to be right there to hit that fastball. And the one thing that he has been able to do is he can be aggressive early in the count, and if he goes to 2 strikes, just cut down on his swing a little bit and try to put it in play. And I think right now, if he's going to stay in that 260, 265 range, you might as well be aggressive and get your pitch and just try to be more productive. And to be at 51 RBI, batting in the back of the order most of the year, that's pretty good.
Chased and missed the slider down and away. Phil Hughes does not have a strikeout yet tonight. He has 110 this season. But the Royals this year have been at times the toughest, if not one of the toughest in the American League to strike out. That's a big improvement over last year. In a perfect world, Yuniesky would like to turn those numbers around. Still 0-2.
Yeah, Phil Hughes can't be happy with that pitch. He threw that pitch right down the middle of the plate, 0-2. And Yuniesky probably wishes he'd have squared that one up because he probably won't see a better pitch than that one. You can take a look at that pitch right down the middle of the plate, 0-2, and he fouls this ball off.
The only run tonight, Billy Butler coming home on Wilson Betemeat's single back in the first inning. And now Posada out to make sure he and Hughes are on the same page with this 0-2 pitch to Betancourt, who always seems to be ready to swing. I don't think he's the type of hitter where you can think, well, let's try and sneak a pitch by him.
It's not a fastball you want. The best pitch he's thrown him in this at bat is that slider off the outside corner. He probably make less mistakes with that pitch right now than when he tried to get the fastball in and left it out over the plate.
Backing out of play, still 0-2.
Again, that's a good pitch for Yuniesky, but not a good pitch for Phil Hughes. Yuniesky's let 2 balls go 0-2 that you normally wouldn't see in that situation. As Quick brings us this pitch through Fox tracks, that's a pitch that we've seen him hit out of the ballpark.
Laid off the slider down and away.
And when you get a hitter that's always sitting fastball, when you get the 2 strikes, it's easier to go a hard slider away and get him to chase than to try to sneak a fastball by him, because that just won't happen. You got to try to trick him with 2 strikes in order to be successful.
Same pitch, same result. 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's a hard slider coming in at 92 miles an hour.
Yeah, just a ball, just low. Needs to elevate it just a little bit more. But right now he's put himself in a fastball situation. The 2-2, you want something to happen right here.
And the fastball is lined over Cano and into center field. So through it all, he was ready for the fastball, and fortunate in this at-bat that he got more than one that was hittable. 2 on, 2 out.
Well, he got away with 2-0-2, and then he got behind and took the count to 2-2, so he was pretty much back to a fastball count. It's a matter of whether he was going to spot it, but he left it in the middle of the plate, and Unieski did a line drive to the right center field. That's a good piece of battling by Unieski right there. Yeah, that's one guy you won't sneak a fastball by.
What was the great line about Hank Aaron? Someone said trying to sneak a fastball by Hank Aaron was like trying to sneak a sunrise past a rooster.
Won't happen.
Curveball goes through the back door. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mitch reached with a walk in the 2nd inning. That's the only walk allowed by Phil Hughes, who is having his longest inning of the night. This will be pitch number 22. And it's that hard slider, maybe even a cutter. Cut fastball at 92 miles an hour.
Yeah, that was one thing that Joe Girardi said also, Ryan, that the pitchers in the league have gone cutter crazy. Everybody's got a cutter.
You got one like that, though. I mean, stick with it. Broken bat and 2 hops to Teixeira. And at the end of 4, Royals still have a 1-0 lead.
He's got some good stuff.
And now the Yankees have come to the plate in 22 innings. They've only scored 7 runs, and one of the keys for the Royals is they've really shut down the Yankees with runners in scoring position.
And that's really been the big story in the first 2 games, and again tonight here, Ryan. And like I say, just living on the edge. But you know, the Yankees are the kind of ball club that they'll go their way for so long, but they got the kind of club that if you keep leaving the door open, sooner or later they're going to walk through it.
They are 0 for 4 tonight with runners in scoring position. And Mitch Meyer needs a hustle into right center to keep a runner out of scoring position. Gardner to second. And it is A hustling double for him. Mitch Meyer did nothing wrong. That was just the speed of Gardner.
Well, you're right, Ryan. He did a good job getting over there in right center field and getting around this ball so he can have a chance to even make a good throw to second base. But you can see this is like a little changeup right here. Gardner was sitting on it, line drive over second base. The outfield's fast. Mitch did a real good job of getting in front of this ball, and he made a strong throw to second base. But Gardner's speed, running right from that contact, got him into second base.
That brings up Ramiro Pena. He struck out his first time. And now he's going to try and bunt to get the runner over to third. It's a very good bunt. Little indecision on the infield. Both Kendall and Bedemeet for a moment were going for it. No play. And 2 on, nobody out. That's a long way out for Jason Kendall to have to go.
And that's one thing where Wilson Bedemeet's got to come out and call him off. Jason's going to get out there, and looked like he had a shot right there. He's the closest one to the ball, but he hesitated, and when he hesitated, Wilson Bedemeet hesitated. You can see Wilson in already on the grass, and as Pena lays the ball down, Jason's right out of there quickly. But I think they so quickly confused each other.
Both of them broke hard. And then for a split second, both of them assumed the other guy was going to get the ball.
And that caused the hesitation, what caused that base hit to happen.
So that's the first hit for the Yankees with runners in scoring position tonight, but it doesn't result in a run. And first and third for Derek Jeter. Jeter struck out to begin the game, and then singled and stole a base in the third. O'Sullivan with 4 scoreless innings, but they haven't been 4 easy innings. He retired the side in order in the first, but one of the outs drove Mitch Meyer to the bullpen gate in right field. Sean had to get around 2 runners in the second inning, 2 runners in the third, and then got the side in order in the fourth, but 2 of those outs were driven deep to the outfield. Jeter grounds it to second, chance for 2, and a double play. The Yankees tie the game, but this early in the game, the Royals will take that. 6-4-3, so no RBI.
Well, Uni did a good job going up the middle to field this ground ball, but you watch Chris Getz here. He forgot he's got a glove on his hand. Right? He gets his ball with his bare hand, and then he turns to double play.
He didn't look like he had it clean for a second there. It was.
Well, you see where it's a little bit. He's on the bag. He's got it in the palm of his hand, so it should be up in his fingers. Now he's got to try to work it up into his fingers, and then he makes the play to first base. Very fortunate right there.
And now Nick Swisher drops it into right center field. Yankees have come out swinging in this inning. 5 pitches to 4 hitters. And now Mark Teixeira. Teixeira has fouled out, and he has popped out. That makes him 1 out of 10 so far in the 3 games. Right center field. Didn't sound like he got all of it. And Blanco in front of the warning track makes the catch. Yankees tie the game, but all things considered, not a bad inning for O'Sullivan. 6 pitches to a look at tonight's AT&T trivia question. What is the lowest total by a Royals player to lead the team in home runs in the last 20 years, and who is he? Ball 1-2. Chris gets. Right now the Royals leader is Billy Butler with 11. Gets grounded into a force out. That put an end to the bottom of the second inning.
I think I'm going to say, can I say?
Yeah. The rules for you are different than the rules for me. Teixeira handles a one hop and to the bag to get Getz.
I'm going to say 18.
Okay. And who was it?
That I don't know.
Well, okay. I'm guessing it's in the last 10 years. How about that for a first clue? Is that right? In the last 10 years? No. Okay. Was it in the 10 years before that? So we're talking 1990 to 1999. Teixeira knocks it down, goes to the bag, and the league might hand him a Gold Glove before this series is over.
I'll tell you what, he and Kochman both, Casey Kochman, those are two of the best I've seen in the league, Ryan. Most managers will tell you if you got to have a great fielding first baseman, you prefer him to be left-handed. But Teixeira is so much more agile than if you didn't watch him play every day. You wouldn't think he moved as well as he does. But I mean, just great hands and great quickness at first base.
And the reason for the left-handed third baseman, it is easier to apply a tag on a pickoff because you're just dropping the glove down as opposed to reaching across the body. And then on a ground ball, you're in a good fielding position to throw to second base.
Yeah, the 3-6-3 double play.
Kendall is 1 for 3 as he gets it past Derek Jeter. But if there's an advantage for a right-handed first baseman, it was the play that Teixeira made. Your glove is right on the line, or to the line side.
Right. Then it also helps with the infield end, too. It's a little bit quicker to get the ball to home plate.
So Kendall at first, and now Billy Butler. He scored the Royals run in the bottom of the first inning with a double high up the wall in left center field. Missed a home run by a foot, maybe less, and then scored on Bedemead's base hit. The Yankees just tied the game in the top of the fifth. Derek Jeter grounding into a double play with a runner at third. Center field, deep. Anderson is back. He has room, and you are really going to have to lean into one to get it out tonight. After 5, we're tied at 1. Still wearing the gear. Bullpen coach Steve Foster promised the bullpen last night if they were scoreless after the rain delay, he would wear the full gear the entire game tonight. And maybe the relievers out there showing some mercy and allowing him to take the mask off.
Yeah, his face is sweating pretty good.
Sixth inning, Sean O'Sullivan gets Alex Rodriguez, Robinson Cano, and Jorge Posada. And you could see that changeup coming on first pitch because O'Sullivan threw 3 straight fastballs to Alex Rodriguez in the third inning and struck him out. Last 2 up and in, and got him swinging. Setting up inside again, and the fastball is fouled back, 0-2.
Yeah, the Yankees that kind of stretched out the last couple of innings, Ryan. They've been inching closer and closer to that outfield wall on all speed pitches, so he might require some kind of a change in that situation where he went back-to-back fastballs with A-Rod and struck him out. So just make sure you just keep changing how you finish to get these hitters off. That'll make a big difference.
Well, he tried to finish him off the same way he did in the third inning with some heat up. Sean has 5 strikeouts, and 3 of those on his changeup. The only strikeout with the fastball was against Rodriguez. And that fastball is drilled to deep center field. Back goes Blanco, and Rodriguez puts the Yankees in front.
You go back to the previous at bat, Ryan. After he got ahead of him, he threw him fastball in, fastball up and in, and he stayed right with it, and he got him out. And this at bat, the location is the only different thing right here. He starts him off with his fastball right down his wheelhouse, down and no end. He didn't elevate it like he did the time before, and A-Rod was sitting there waiting on it.
.602 career home runs for Rodriguez, 7th all time. He is 7 away from Sammy Sosa. That pitch stayed up, slicing away from Blanco, but he outruns it. Robinson Cano with a tough luck 0 for 3 night. That's 3 lineouts to the outfield. Rodriguez also drives in his 93rd of the year and his 3rd of this series.
That's his 42nd career home run against the Royals.
Now he will get his share of long home runs, tape measure home runs, but the majority of his home runs are like the one he just hit, a line drive that just keeps going. I mean, he's not the kind of guy that, hits it up into the second and third deck of places and you go, wow. It's just a line drive that the average major league player, that line drive begins to flame out when it gets to the outfield. His picks up and continues to carry.
And you can tell tonight, you look at all the line drives that have been up against the wall so far that were caught that we thought might have a chance to go out. But, as you said, A-Rod's ball just kind of gets that top spin on it, and it just takes off. He really comes down through this ball. And you watch his bat head, how he just comes straight down through this ball and creates that backspin, and that's what makes his ball take off.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Posada. And remember, the ball does not appear to be carrying tonight. At least the hitters aren't getting any help. We've seen balls die on the warning track all night. And Rodriguez still seemed to be carrying when it went over the wall in left center field. Billy Butler hit one to almost the same spot, same area, but his ball hit the top of the wall. And that breaking ball stayed up. Posada 0 for 5 so far in the series. Three balls and 2 strikes. O'Sullivan didn't give up any runs in the second or third innings, but his pitch count was getting him into trouble in those innings, but pulled it together in the fourth, and then the Yankees really helped him out in the 5th inning. That's 6 pitches. Helped him get into the 6th inning tonight. But at the end of 3 innings, it looked like it might be a struggle for him to even get to the 6th. And by the way, those 6 pitches came to 5 hitters, so they came out swinging. Gardner swung at the first pitch, doubled. Pena bunted the first pitch. Jeter grounded into a double play on the second pitch. Swisher singled on the first pitch. Teixeira flied out in the first pitch. And that's drilled to deep center field. Blanco is back again. He can only watch it.
Talked about how you finish. If you're going to keep finishing with that changeup, these guys have been around a long time. They're going to sit there and wait for it, and that's what Posada did right here on this changeup. You know, other than the back-to-back fastballs to A-Rod, it was very rare that John O'Sullivan would back up fastball back-to-back. And Posada was sitting there waiting on that changeup. He hit this ball a long way.
Now, something has changed, not to take anything away from Rodriguez or Posada. I mean, those balls are hit very hard. But Robinson Cano is sitting back going, now, wait a minute. Same with Mark Teixeira. How come our balls weren't carrying? Well, in the last 20 minutes or so, as the sun continues to go down, it has cooled off a little bit. But the wind has pretty much just died. And it was blowing in from center field. A little bit of a left to right, but mostly blowing in from left center. So the balls were either into a crosswind or into the wind, and now that wind is gone.
Well, that's true, Ryan, and that's when you go back and say, well, how come mine didn't go in there? That's when Posada and A-Rod look over at Robinson Cano and Swisher and say, look, little man hit it. Just try to make light of it.
And a changeup misses very high, 2-0 on Curtis Granderson, and you need to keep the ball down against him. Granderson hit 2 home runs against O'Sullivan back in New York on July the 25th. So Dusty Hughes warming up quickly out in right field. 3 balls, no strikes. Brett Gardner is on deck, another left-hand batter, so this could be O'Sullivan's last hitter. Sean is now at 95 pitches on a hot, humid night. So it probably feels like more than that. See ya. Wow. 3 home runs in the inning. And there's nothing good about that, but, and keep this in mind as we get into the later innings, Frank, all 3 of these home runs have been solo home runs.
Man, that's the same thing was going through my head, Ryan. He's got hit hard, but they are solo home runs. The Royals are still in this ball game, and they just ran into a situation where he's tried to elevate in this inning, and the lack of mix of pitches got him in trouble.
Chevy called to the bullpen, brings in Dusty Hughes to face Brett Gardner.
fastball up out of the zone. You said to Granderson, you got to keep the ball down. And he gets his fastball, and none of those home runs, Ryan, there was nothing cheap about any of them.
So Dusty Hughes comes on to face a left-hand batter, and Brett Gardner. Kendall didn't see it right away. So that's a big break for Gardner. And the question might come up after the game, what happened to Sean O'Sullivan in the 6th inning? Well, if you look at your scorecard, if you've been scoring along with us, and all of the fly balls that landed on the warning track, the Yankees were getting good swings all night. But as we showed you, the weather has changed just enough that might have helped them. And the balls were getting a little more elevated, a little more of the plate here in the 6th inning. So those balls that were hit hard and were landing on the track, now we're ending up on the other side of the track.
Well, that's true, Ryan. And really going back to the 4th, you take the early ones away from Cano and Swisher, then he worked okay in the next couple of innings. But in the 4th inning, you had 2 lineouts, one by Cano and one by Granderson. And then it just sort of started to escalate from there by pitching up in the zone. And a couple times they just sit on that off-speed pitch and hit in two strike situation, and they made him pay for it.
Gardner doubled leading off the 5th inning. Scored when Jeter grounded into a double play. That tied the game at 1. And now the Rodriguez, Posada, and Granderson home runs in this inning. That just got a piece of Betancourt's glove, but out into left field. Gardner has his 2nd hit. And while we have a moment, let's take a look at tonight's AT&T trivia question. What is the lowest total by a Royals player to lead the team in home runs in the last 20 years? And who is he? Frank says 18. He doesn't know who.
I'll say Beltran.
I'll say Jose Offerman. Ah. 17 by Mike McFarland in 1992. That's not the only time a Royal has led the team with 17. Willie Aikens had 17 in 1981. And then Ed Kirkpatrick has the lowest total, 14. That was in 1969. And the Royals have Mike Muszlinski, the first base umpire, to thank for Brett Gardner still being at first base.
Well, I mean, he places himself right behind Billy Butler right there. I mean, he's like he never even saw this ball. I mean, that's like right in the line of fire. You kind of move up the line a little bit, but any overthrow, it happens. You don't want to put yourself in a position to get hit by an overthrow.
Are umpires protected?
They should be.
Okay.
If he wasn't, I'm sure we'd have found out.
He wouldn't still be standing as tall and as proud as he is right now.
He still would be chewing that tobacco, yeah. I'll tell you that.
If he didn't, all the tobacco in North Carolina wouldn't take away the bad taste from that. Pena playing at third base. Alex Rodriguez is the designated hitter.
I have to think he stands closer to that base than any umpire. I mean, he's right in line. Usually you up the line just a little bit, but he is right there.
Well, he'll never be accused of being out of position.
No, you might want to ask Billy to catch a few more of those balls in the dirt over there. I mean, he never saw that ball.
Slide step, and it's popped up into very shallow right field and foul. Still 1-2 on Pena. Last inning, after Gardner doubled, Pena
was just trying to lay down a sacrifice bunt. He did better than that. Rolling it up the third base side, and there was a little bit of indecision as far as who was going to play the ball. Kendall going out from behind home plate, Betemit coming in, and Pena got himself a single. A 1-1 tie coming into this inning. Alex Rodriguez opened the inning with a home run, and then with one out, Jorge Posada and Curtis Granderson hit back-to-back home runs. The Yankees are third in the league in home runs. They've hit 4 in this series, but every home run has been a solo home run. So they haven't hit the back-breaking home run like they did a few times during the series at Yankee Stadium. Betancourt to Getz, quick turn, is not in time, and Butler couldn't dig it out. Pena was safe anyway, so Gardner's out at second base. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefevre with Frank White and Joel Goldberg with producer Kevin Shank, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton and Sam Abramson, and the producer of Royals Live is TJ McGinnis. A couple of one-run games in the first two. Yankees winning 4-3 on Thursday. Royals 4-3 last night. The Yankees have played in 5 straight one-run games, and the Royals in their last 11 games have played 9 decided by 2 runs or less. So by those standards, this is a blowout. One and one on Jeter. The Royals this year have had more than half of their games, 53% to be exact, decided by 2 runs or less. Every win the Royals have had in this month have been 1-run wins. Jeter mixed up on that pitch. Down 0-2.
The way the Royals offense is built, even before the trade deadline, they were having trouble really putting together a lot of runs. They were averaging 10, 11, 12 hits a game, but only putting across 3, maybe 4 runs a game. And then after the trades, that went even less. And so I think that's where the Royals have to play good defense and do things fundamentally right the rest of the way, because they aren't scoring a lot of runs, but you don't want to add to that and beat yourself by 1 run. And I think that's what the big difference has been, is the mistakes that cost them that 90 feet, that cost them that 1-run game. And you got to go back to even a little bunt, the mix up between Jason and Wilson Betemit. I mean, those are fundamental things that can cost you runs.
And doesn't go down as an error.
Right.
And the Royals really need to stop a trend next year, and that is leading the league in errors. They did it last year, and at the moment the Royals lead the American League with 85 errors.
And I think they can break that trend once they settle on a set lineup and have the same guys in the same positions for the majority of the year. I think that total might go down for the club.
Three solo home runs in this long top of the 6th inning for the Yankees. Pena at first base, and Dusty Hughes keeping an eye on him. It is a running situation. Leadoff man at the plate with 2 outs. If the runner steals a base, the single gets him home. If he's out, well, then you have your leadoff man leading off the next inning. The Yankees have already stolen 3 today. Pena is not running, and it's 2-2 on Jeter.
I think right now Dusty really shouldn't worry so much about the runner at first. I think he needs to concentrate on trying to make a good pitch here to Jeter and get out of the inning. Sometimes you can be too distracted in this situation with the runner at first. It's not like he's the winning run or the tying run. You're down by 3 runs, so you got to make sure you make a good pitch to Jeter and try to get out of this inning.
After all, he's the guy with the bat in his hands. And now Billy's going to play behind him. Right field, Meyer near the line. And that's the end of the inning. The Yankees hit 3 solo home runs in a 23-minute inning to take a 3-run lead. Tourism. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. This is the Current River near Salem. It stretches almost 90 miles through the state. The Current may be floated at almost any time of the year. Canoe, kayak, inner tube, and small raft floats are available for rental to float down the Current River. Camping, RV sites, and cabins are also available for camping along the river. So the Royals down by 3. They have 1 run, 5 hits against Phil Hughes. 2 of those hits from Wilson Betemit. And he got the Royals run home in the bottom of the first, driving in Billy Butler. So that gets Betemit up to 346. Keela, Kaihue after him, and then Alex Gordon. Right field, and that's deep. Back goes Swisher. Betemit goes deep.
This is one pitch that Phil Hughes tried to get inside, Ryan, but this ball didn't get in far enough. You can see Wilson bring the hands in and just had a good base, stayed back on his backside, fired the hands through this pitch inside. He stayed right on it, got everything into it, and this ball went over by the waterfalls there in right center field. He hit that ball very well. And like you said, something's changed from the first inning.
So Bedamit is 3 for 3. He's driven in both runs. It's 1-1 on Keela, who is 0 for 2. Lost a hit on a great play by Teixeira in the first inning. That's the 17th home run given up by Phil Hughes this year. Up the middle, Cano, backhands. And a throw on one, Hop didn't get him. So Keela, dying for a hit, gets an infield single.
Well, Cano really shows you the range that he has right here. He goes. They got it in good shape here, but he had to take an extra step. He really didn't come down on the step that he wanted. He wanted that right foot down right there. It would be to got the right foot down and turn, but he took an extra step, and that cost him that play right there. When you make that play to your backhand side, you want to be able to have, when that right foot hits, you want to be able to come back over the top. But when he tried to bring the right foot, he took an extra step, and that really hurt him. He showed great range.
Ball one now to Alex Gordon, who is 0 for 2. Let's get back to our You Call It question presented by Sprint of the current Royals, who will lead the team in home runs. Bedamit now with 5. Go down to 4%, 60%. Say it's going to be Billy Butler. One and one. Alex is grounded back to Phil Hughes and flied out to left field.
I think Alex has really benefited Ryan from just having a good base. You know, when you swing to stay on that back leg, kind of like Wilson Bedamit did when he hit that home run. But he has a tendency to come off of his backside, and I think that hurts his ability to hit the ball inside.
Move to left, and that's going to drop. So 3 straight hits to begin the bottom of the 6th inning.
Take a look at his swing and watch his back foot here. This ball is inside. He stays planted. He might be able to get the bat head through. Let's see how he comes off the back foot, and that takes a little bit away from his bat speed, and he's able to cue the ball in the left field. But if he can stay on that back, the old squish and the bug thing they call it. If he can stay on that backside and rotate, then that'll quicken his hands up, and he'll be able to hit that ball inside a lot better.
You know, I was noticing too after you brought that up before the pitch came in that as the pitcher is going through his motion, he very gradually just kind of rocks back and forth from back leg to front leg to back leg again. Yankees are prepared for a bunt, and Betancourt launches it foul off the left field line. And I'm sure that's a nice timing mechanism for him, but if the timing is off just a little bit, he could get caught leaning forward as the pitch is coming in.
Right. Yeah, he's got to be back on that back leg, and you watch Uniesky when he takes a swing, and he's not coming off that back leg. He's gonna use that and rotate, quicken those hands up, and that's how he's able to hit that pitch on the inner half. You can get to it a lot faster. But if you come off your backside with your swing, then you're not going to have the bat speed that you really need.
Uni goes out of the strike zone, 0-2. He singled to center last time up and is 1 for 2 tonight.
Well, just take a look at his backside and see he just falls. This ball's up and away, but you see how he's getting his front foot down, then he stays on the backside, then he rotates, and that's where you want to be at the end of the swing. But you don't want it off the ground. You don't want it sliding forward. You just want to be right in there.
Into shallow left field. Gardner never saw it. It is that time of night where the ball really blends in with the sky. And Curtis Granderson is telling Brett Gardner right now, man, next time that happens, you need to let me know. I could come over and help you out.
I know, he's just standing there, but he does nothing with his hands until it's almost too late. You got to do that right away and let that off player come over and help you out right there. That ball was up way too long before Curtis Granderson knew that he had no clue where this ball was. And I'm not sure if Granderson saw this ball when you watch him react to that. And you can see clearly that Brett Gardner has no clue. Look at his eyes. His eyes are all over the place looking for this ball.
Right after Granderson threw it in, though, he immediately turned to Brett Gardner and said something to him. I thought perhaps he was saying, I didn't realize that you didn't see it. But maybe you're right. Maybe he was saying, hey, don't feel bad. I didn't see it either.
Yeah, watch Granderson right here. He's looking at Gardner, and all of a sudden he hesitates right here like he doesn't see it either. And then he takes off after it. Here's same ball again.
Gardner sees it this time. Keela started a tag and holds. Gardner threw out a runner last night.
And as if that's not the new cornerback coming in the game. So you didn't see this one. Well, let's see if you can see this one. So. Now what's the odds of getting 2 balls the same way? Unbelievable.
Well, tonight it's 1 out of 1. Now Chris Getz. So Meyer with the bases loaded, nobody out, unable to get a run home. Getz is grounded out twice, doesn't want to do that here, and hit into a double play. Grounds it behind Keela, 0-1. So Chris drops down to 222, but we were talking about defense a little bit earlier. And interesting, when Chris Getz plays second base for the Royals this year, they have a winning record. Now the Royals overall are 20 games below 500, but when Getz plays second base, coincidence or not, the Royals are 2 games above 500.
Well, this goes back to turning double plays. You turn the ones that you have to turn, and the ones that you don't turn leads to bigger innings. And I think that's the difference with him being at second base, is just being able to turn the double plays that present themselves. You know, Mike is still learning at that position, and sometimes his footwork can get crossed up, and then maybe the exchange from glove to hands can have problems at times. Where Chris Getz that's all he's ever played at second base, so he has a pretty good idea of what to do out there.
Short swing to stay alive, still 0-2. Now Phil Hughes is up over 90 pitches, only 1 so far, where he's had over 20. And in the 4th inning, the Royals did not score. They got 1 in the 1st on Bedemeat's single, 1 here in the 6th on Bedemeat's home run. And now the bases loaded with 1 out.
And it goes back to what you said about Sean Sullivan, Ryan. All those home runs were solo home runs, and then later in the game, and the Royals are battling back right here, so they can really make that outing by Sean O'Sullivan a thing of the past in this situation right here.
Bedemeat homered. Keela with an infield single. Gordon with a bloop single. Betancourt with a single that Gardner lost in the gray sky. Getz breaks his bat. This will not be a double play. Teixeira goes to the bag, and it's 4-3. So Getz picks up an RBI. And we're back to another close game. Posada standing out in front of home plate and signaling bunts, reminding the defense that Blanco will lay down a bunt. Well, and that he will.
And if Blanco can get a bunt out by the mound and bring Teixeira to the ball, he can outrun Hughes to the base right here. You bring your first baseman in, but you don't want your first baseman to come unless the ball is down the line. If it's out in the pasture there, you rely on the second baseman and the pitcher to get the ball, so you'll always have someone at first base. If Blanco can get it out there and make Teixeira commit to the ball, then he's got a chance to get himself a base hit.
Gordon at third base, Betancourt at second. Blanco is 0 for 3. And ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes.
From a hitting standpoint, a guy like Blanco with his speed, and you come up every time you come up, you got the first baseman in, you got the second baseman about double play depth, you got the third baseman in. So you got all kind of guys that are giving you an avenue to get a base hit. Just hit hard ground balls, and you got a chance.
Swings an extremely big bat, literally. And in order to handle that big bat, chokes up, I think, as much as anyone in either league, at least from what we've seen.
And he doesn't swing it. He doesn't swing it slow either. He really lets it go.
I was talking to Kevin Seitzer about that, and Kevin likes the creativity. It allows him to handle the bat just fine. And Kevin said it doesn't handle his so-called plate coverage, which means he can handle pitches inside and outside. And just a way to carry a bigger bat, a bat with a bigger barrel. And he shortens up a good 4 inches on the bat.
Yeah, and also helps him when he goes to bunt, whether it be sacrifice or drag bunting.
Teixeira on a backhand, plays the short hop, goes to the bag, makes yet another good play. The Royals come up with 2 in the bottom of the 6th. Games of the series. Yankees had a 4-1 lead until Wilson Betemit homered, leading off the bottom of the 6th inning. Royals got another run on a ground out. The Yankees scored 3 in the top half of the inning with Alex Rodriguez, Jorge Posada, and Curtis Granderson homering off of Sean O'Sullivan, who gives up 4 earned runs in 5 1/3 innings. Dusty Hughes got the final 2 outs of the 6th, and now it's Kanekoa Teixeira, who pitched in the Yankees farm system, on for the 7th inning with Nick Swisher, Mark Teixeira, no relation, and Alex Rodriguez coming up. Teixeira and Nick Swisher coming over together from Chicago to the Yankees. And then Teixeira this past offseason taken by the Mariners in the Rule 5. In fact, that trade involved Wilson Betemit. He was on the other side of the trade, going from the Yankees to the White Sox. Swisher is lined to the warning track and right, walked, and he is singled. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Teixeira, before the 2009 season, went to spring training with the Yankees and then spent that year at Double-A. 2-1. Royals want an appeal. They get it. And Swisher does not agree with third base umpire Ed Hickox. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It's almost like in basketball, nobody ever fouls. And nobody ever raised their hand and said, "Oh yeah, I did it." That's a big inning for the Royals this inning, Ryan. Maybe it's time for Steve Foster to make another bet. The Royals battle back to get within 1 run. So if they can put up a 0 here and give their offense a chance to come back, that's going to be huge.
Teixeira worked on Thursday night in the Yankees' 4-3 win, going 2 innings, giving up a run. It was unearned. Three balls, 2 strikes on Swisher. And we'll do it again. Even before this series started, the Yankees were, you would think, feeling a little sluggish. They had that long game on Wednesday in Texas that went 3 hours and 45 minutes. That was a night game. They didn't land in Kansas City until 3 o'clock and played on Thursday, and then the long game last night. Right to Betancourt. Swisher is out, number 1 in the 7th inning. Let's find Joe Goldberg.
Well, Ryan, we had our second installment last night of Real Royals Trivia, and our winner was Bill Breckenridge from Holt, Missouri. Had a lot of fun, and there's Bill with Friday, being another home game. We'll have more Real Royals Trivia when the White Sox are in town, so you want to get there early to rivals. We'll select 3 contestants. Very pressure-packed there. Guys, I'll test you. This was a Yankees question we didn't get to yesterday. Who had the highest career average as a Royal against the Yankees? Minimum 150 plate appearances. Darrell Porter, George Brett, Kevin Seitzer, or Willie Aikens?
Frank?
Frank, it's not you in there, so you can answer this one.
I'll say Willie Aikens.
Who was a guest, by the way, on Royals Live today, but you're wrong. Frank, it's down to 3 now.
Well, George has had probably the most plate appearances against the Yankees, so I'll go with George.
But it wasn't plate appearances, it was batting average. So you're wrong. It's Darrell Porter batted .318 as a Royal against the New York Yankees. Huh. Now, an easier question would be, are Kaneko Teixeira and Mark Teixeira brothers? And Kaneko would say, well, one guy's got the name Kaneko and the other guy's got Mark. No.
Launched to center field. Back goes Blanco. Rodriguez has another home run. This one is worth 2.
Some guys have an automatic zone. This is the same area of his previous home run down. He was able to get the bat head down through this ball. It's moving right in on him. But you can see how he goes down. Look at his head. Look at his hands. How he just tucked those hands in to get the good part of the bat to that ball. And he really just jumped all over this. This is just pure strength right here, Ryan. This is bat speed and strength. This ball went well in the center field over 1, 2, 3 balls.
know, not just here in Kansas City where there are a lot of Yankee fans, but even in New York, the ovations are getting louder for him. Cano with his first hit, and he's going to head to second base as Alex slipped on the grass. Cano's been clobbering the ball all night, but that's his first hit.
Yeah, we started by saying this inning was a big inning for Teixeira and the Royals trying to come back within one run and get your offense going, and you go put a 0 up. Maybe your offense will pick you up the next inning, but right now they got to play some serious catch up the rest of this ball game.
Alex Rodriguez, you know, he's been a great player for a long time, but in New York, there's a big difference between a Yankee great and a great player who just happens to play for the Yankees.
That is true.
And slowly but surely he is earning his pinstripes. He has won an MVP with New York. He has hit his 500th home run with the Yankees. He's won a World Series with the Yankees. He's hit his 600th home run with the Yankees. And slowly but surely, I think Yankee fans are starting to warm up to him.
And a lot of these guys make it with the Yankees in the playoffs. You know, that's where a lot of them cut their teeth, and that's where the Yankee fans really latch into them, is when they perform well in postseason.
It's the 56th time in his career he's hit more than one home run in a game. Second time this year. He has 603 career home runs now, so that puts him 6 away from Sammy Sosa, who is next on the all-time list. Sosa was 609 and 6th all-time. And talking to Kevin Long, we were talking about him last night. Kevin Long played his entire professional career in the Royals system, didn't get to the big leagues, but then became a very successful hitting coach. Moved on to the Yankees, and now is the batting coach for Alex Rodriguez, Mark Teixeira, Derek Jeter, Robinson Cano, Jorge Posada, on and on and on.
Well, that makes it hard in some ways and makes it easy in some ways. And I mean, these guys have perfect swings for the most part. They know how to make adjustments at the plate, and you just got to sit back and tweak them a little bit here and tweak them a little bit there. But they pretty much know their swing, and they know what they need to do when they get off track. And I think that just helps him a lot. And he learns faster that way because these guys have been around for so long. It's not like you got to have a guy that you got to babysit every day and make sure that, okay, you didn't do it this time, but you did it this time. But these guys are pretty consistent in what they do on a daily basis. You know, that 600th home run that A-Rod was going for while we were there earlier this year, I mean, that home run seemed like it was never going to come. You could see him change his swing. He was going down on one knee, trying to muscle the ball. He was doing a lot of things. And now this swing tonight looks totally different than what we saw when he was trying to get number 600.
Didn't hear a whole lot about Kevin Long when he was in the Royals farm system as a coach. But I remember Ken Harvey said something about him, that he was just a very simple hitting coach, and that Ken remembered times where he'd be struggling in the minor leagues and would go up to Kevin and say, man, what am I doing wrong? I'm struggling. And Kevin Long would say, oh, you just need to keep your shoulder in. You're fine. And would move on to the next guy. And maybe there was some psychology involved there, like trying to get the guys, don't overanalyze. You know, oh, you're okay. You're just not keeping your shoulder in. And maybe would give the hitter one little thing to think about, but at the same time, if the hitting coach isn't concerned about your swing and what's going on, then maybe the hitter shouldn't be too concerned about it.
Well, I agree with that too. And he had an opportunity to be the hitting coach for Bucky Dent, you know, longtime Yankee and former Yankee manager. And those things really help you a lot when you can get that professional advice at AAA. And then when Bucky Dent moved on to Columbus to manage AAA for the Yankees, Kevin went along with him, and that relationship just continued to grow.
First and third with 2 down. Posada cut down at second base.
And that brings up Brett Gardner. The Yankees with 1 run in the first 5 innings, and now 5 runs in the last 2 innings. Gardner has 2 hits, and he has scored 1 of the runs. Ball 1 from Teixeira, who got the first out of the inning on a ground ball from Nick Swisher. But then Teixeira singled. Rodriguez hit a 2-run home run. Then Cano doubled. A walk to Posada, and now a force out to put runners at the corners. And the Royals still have 9 outs on offense tonight, but this is what the Yankees do. They lull you into thinking that it's a game for the first 5 or 6 innings, and then the next thing you know, they start pulling away, and at the end of the game, you're left scratching your head going, what happened?
Well, I just think they're a team, Ryan, that plays from the first out to the 27th out, and they just wait for you to make a mistake, and they got the kind of hitters that can really make you pay for it. But you got a lineup where you got 5 or 6 guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark when you make a mistake. And you see what they did tonight. They're not really killing them with singles. They're driving the ball, home runs, doubles, and that makes a big difference. And I think that when you look at the fact that they have, I believe, 36, 37 come from behind wins, it shows that they continue to play throughout the game and wait for you to make a mistake.
They had scored 7 runs in the first 2 games combined. Now have 6 in less than 7 innings tonight, and have hit 4 home runs. But the reason that this isn't a blowout yet is because 3 of the 4 have been solo home runs. Chopped to short. Betancourt throws low. Butler digs it out of the dirt to end the inning. The Yankees add 2 in the 7th. Stadium, and there's Royals superfan Chris dancing with the K crew. Do you think you are the ultimate Royals superfan? Well, next Wednesday at 7:10, you have a chance to win the title of 2010 Royals Superfan when the Royals take on Cleveland. There will be Royals trivia, a costume contest, and much more. It's also Buck Night, so specials include hot dogs, small Pepsi drinks, peanuts, and Twinkies for just $1 each. Royals.com or 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets.
Now, in my opinion, all Chris has to do is show up with his little lanyard with the tickets from all the places that he's been this year. And who's going to top that?
Take that hair off, whatever that is. But he'd be all right.
Show up with his cape and his tickets. And I mean, that's a slam dunk for him.
Could be, yes.
Jabba Chamberlain for the bottom of the 7th inning. The Royals got Phil Hughes to throw 98 pitches in 6 innings. He gives up 3 runs on 9 hits and went 6 innings without a strikeout. And that's a pitcher with 110 strikeouts coming into the game. Kendall 1 out of 2 with a 5th inning single. And by going just 6 innings tonight, Phil Hughes has now gone more than 6 innings in just one of his last 9 starts. And I would think the Yankees would be somewhat careful with him, considering what his role was last year, pitching out of the bullpen. The deep third, Pena's throw is in the dirt. And what hasn't Mark Teixeira done tonight?
That's the ultimate defense right there. I mean, that's where you want. That's where you like all your players to be defensively. You'll be able to catch balls in the dirt, be able to dive left and right, be able to just make all the plays. And Pena backed up and got caught back on his heels, but you see Teixeira made a great move forward to try to catch that ball on the way up. Did a great job. That's why he's got the goal.
3 Gold Gloves. Billy Butler doubled and scored back in the 1st inning. Just missed a home run and then flied to the warning track in the 5th. One ball, 1 strike from Jabba Chamberlain, the former Nebraska Cornhusker, former teammate of Alex Gordon. And they have known each other since before high school. They played in the 2005 College World Series together. Alex was the Royals' 1st-round pick in 2005. And then Chamberlain the next year, going in the 1st round to the Yankees. Two balls, 2 strikes. And Jabba had many fans like that in New York when he got to the big leagues in 2007, 1 year after he was drafted. Can't really say a 1st-round pick comes out of nowhere, but when Chamberlain came up from the minor leagues, did not allow an earned run until his 13th appearance. Pena comes way in from 3rd and gets Billy Butler. Now, Billy's had a couple of balls on the infield tonight that with a little more speed would have 2 more hits.
Well, I'm sure that's a frustrating part right there. He looks back to see who made the play, and he probably thinks the pitcher made this play. But this is just getting out of the box. You know, the way he hit that ball, it held him in a little bit longer. And Pena comes up and does a snap throw to first base, and Billy's out just by half a step. Well, let me make that a little longer. Maybe a step.
So 2 ground balls to 3rd. A good play by Pena on one, and a good pick by Teixeira first on the other. And Wilson Betemit, who's 3 for 3, takes ball 1. An RBI single in the 1st, singled again in the 4th, and then homered in the 6th. One ball, 1 strike.
Wilson Betemit, he starts the game with a single up the middle, the CNI single right there, Ryan. It comes back with a base hit to right field. That's a broken bat. And then that's when everything started to look good for him. That's when he stretched out and got a home run to right center field.
So Betemit is now hitting at .351. And now Chamberlain and Posada are going to talk over the 1-1 pitch. Well, we hope you'll make plans now to head out to Kauffman Stadium next Friday when the White Sox are in town. And that'll be the next Fireworks Friday. After the game, a new and improved Fireworks Spectacular presented by Pepsi and Hy-Vee. And a home run hitting performance by some of the best slow pitch softball hitters, the Long Haul Bombers. Go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS for details. And if that's the same group that we've seen before, that is some kind of impressive. Slow pitch softball from home plate. And if the conditions are right, they will hit balls here that you've never seen before.
Home softballs, for sure.
I'm talking about softballs and baseballs. I've seen those guys on the road a few times. The one that stands out for me was one at the Metrodome in Minnesota, and a guy, right-hand batter, hit one off the facing of the upper deck in left field, which is like a $7 cab ride from home plate.
Wow.
And that's slow pitch. I mean, the hitter's generating all the power. So if you want to see that, come out next Friday. Chamberlain gets 3 ground balls, and at the end of 7, the Yankees lead 6-3. Let's take a look at the Panera Bread American League scoreboard. That's good news for the Yankees. They have a chance to make their lead 3 games in the East. Detroit is leading at Chicago. White Sox a game back of Minnesota in the Central. Seattle is leading at Cleveland. Minnesota has won. So at the moment, Chicago is a game and a half back. Boston at Texas. Boston blew an 8-2 lead last night with Josh Beckett on the mound. And it's the Angels in front of the Blue Jays. Greg Holland comes on for the top of the 8th inning. He's the 4th Royals pitcher tonight. It's a broken bat and a line drive. He kept it off of his lips, both the bat and the ball.
Oh, that's a wake-up call right away. First pitch, you got to play defense. You got to be ready. Fastball up in the zone, and I'm surprised that bat broke right there, Ryan. And this ball is right at his face. See, he hits that ball right on the sweet spot of the bat. Remember we told about the maple bats, how sometimes you can hit them good and they'll still break? And Holland just had that quick reaction time. This is all off my lips right here. I mean, he gets that out of there in a hurry. quick reaction.
Jeter into right center. That's a long run for Blanco, but he runs it down. Jeter is 1 out of 5. Let's take a look at that Pena line drive, but let's take a look at it in regular speed. Not a lot of time in between the crack and the pop.
You're right about that, Ryan. I tell you, you got to be pretty fortunate that he was on his glove side and can get that glove up. So if he wasn't really ready mentally to come into this game, he's ready now.
Holland pitched on Thursday and a scoreless 8th inning. And in that inning, he struck out Nick Swisher. Swisher is 1 out of 3 tonight. Royals scored in the bottom of the first. Yankees tied it in the 5th. So just 2 runs in the first 5 innings combined. And the Yankees hit 3 solo home runs in the 6th. The Royals got 2 back in the bottom of the 6th. And then Alex Rodriguez hit his 2nd home run of the game in the 7th. There's a nice grab by a fan that brought his glove, and it's a good thing he did, because that was a bullet.
A lot of smiling people around. He saved someone's life with that catch.
And he needs to do something like that to get a round of applause in this ballpark with those clothes.
Well, this is where Holland's going to really have to work hard here, Ryan. Is just keep that ball on that plane right there. If he can keep the ball there on that plane, it's going to be good for him. He's got a good curveball, but elevating the fastball, okay, that can be a problem at times.
Well, he backs up for a big hop, gets it to Gregg, and the Yankees are down quickly in the 8th.
Stadium immediately following the game on Boulevard Royals Live. We will be out there with Patrick Fitzgerald at Rivals as we'll break down the game. Paul Splittorff and myself will take a look at some great defense so far this series from Mark Teixeira. How about the night of Sean O'Sullivan going okay until those home run balls started flying out? We'll talk about that. We'll hear from Ned Yost, reaction from the team, and much more coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. Ryan?
Thank you, Joel. Royals will get another look at left-hander Boone Logan. They saw him in the 7th and 8th innings last night. And he had a couple of strikeouts of left-hand batters. That's his strength with the unorthodox delivery. And the 2 hitters he struck out will begin the 8th inning tonight. Kila Kaihue, then Alex Gordon, followed by right-hand hitting Yuniesky Betancourt.
Keela's 1 out of 3 with an infield single. And he could easily have 2 hits tonight if not for a great play by Mark Teixeira in the bottom of the first inning, showing off some vertical leap. A high bouncer with Teixeira playing in because he was holding the runner at first. Looked like it was going to bounce right over his head, but jumping up to pluck it out of the sky. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, he's really put a clinic on over that first base, Ryan. Like you say, he showed the vertical leap. He showed the ability to dive to his right, to his left, come in on balls, and he had a nice scoop of a ball in the dirt.
Backing out of play. One ball, 2 strikes. I mean, he's done everything tonight.
I mean, basically just sit back and just watch him. I mean, you don't have to describe what he's doing. You just watch it.
That's the play against Keela. The first play was earlier in the series. I mean, but he's making plays to his right, to his left, coming in, bailing out other infielders with picks like that. Ground ball gets past Cano.
Well, if he could have played a little bit further off the bag, he might have had a shot at that one, too. And Keela got out front, Ryan. Just that was all upper body and hit the ball right at the end of his swing and got it in a good spot on the infield.
Keela does not have a hard hit base hit tonight, but he has 2 hits, which psychologically has to help him as he gets ready for tomorrow's game.
Well, anytime you get hits, that really helps, Ryan, and especially if you've been in the cage working on some things and trying to get your confidence back and trying to slow your motor down a little bit. You know, you have an opportunity to play for the first time, and this is his chance to impress the club and just come up here and kind of continue what he was doing in AAA, but you just got to take it a day at a time, and you got to really relax and you can't get it all in one day. You just got to build on what you were doing in AAA, build on being able to work deep counts, work to your pitch, and be able to center the ball when you get ahead of the pitcher, which he's been a lot.
Alex is single tonight, 1 out of 3. One ball, 2 strikes. The Yankees getting Boone Logan from a White Sox organization by way of the Braves, originally drafted by the White Sox in the 20th round. And if you weren't with us last night, sharing with you his story, 20th round pick, a couple of years in professional baseball, was on the edge of being released. And so he realized he better do something to produce some better results, so he dropped down his arm angle. And the obvious happened, more deception, but then he also ended up with better control. And it really gave his career new life. Got to the big leagues with the White Sox. He got his first major league win against the Royals in '07. Moved on to the Braves. And now with the Yankees. That gets away from Posada, and Keela moves up to second base. It's a wild pitch charged to Logan.
We go back to when you were saying he dropped down, Ryan, out when he came over the top and tried to get the ball inside, and that's where that command issue came in that you were talking about, and that going down to maybe gain some more command. But you see this ball is right a high 3/4, and Alex is just lucky to get out of the way of this pitch right here.
Three and two. So Alex comes back after falling behind. No balls, 2 strikes. Alex
Struck out against Logan last night, but had a long plate appearance, and you could really tell was trying to stay in with that front shoulder against his pitcher, and had several foul balls up to the third base side. And now he drives it to left field, but Brett Gardner is there, and he makes the catch. Keela stays at second base, 1 out. So the 2 left-hand batters have come and gone, and now Joe Girardi is going to go to the bullpen and bring on a righty with Yuniesky Betancourt coming up.
And Yuniesky Betancourt getting set to come up to the plate. I was talking to Kevin Seitzer today about what has made Uni so good at the plate lately, and he said he had a baby. I kind of laughed at that, and he said, no, I'm serious. Now, coming into this game, since his wife had a baby, or his fiance had a baby, hitting .389 and .778 slugging since then, and Seitz saying these new fathers, they're much more relaxed. They're coming back, and their priorities change a little bit. They realize that life isn't just all about baseball, that they now have children at home, and they come back, put it in perspective, end up being a lot more relaxed. So far tonight, Yuniesky Betancourt, with a little help out in the outfield, a couple of more hits for the brand new father, guys.
All right, thank you, Joel. And he'll be facing David Robertson with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th inning. So Boone Logan gives up the hit to Keila Kaihue, retires Alex Gordon. And now the righty-righty matchup. Robertson on Thursday night came on for the save, his first of the year. Mariano Rivera was not available. He had pitched in the previous 2 games and 4 of 5 games total. So Joe Girardi allowed Robertson to close out the game. The Royals scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning to make it a 1-run game and had runners at first and third with 1 out, but Robertson got out of it. So Betancourt is out, 2 for 4 tonight. And Robertson will get left-hand hitting Mitch Meyer. 0 for 2 tonight with a walk, and 0 for his last 9. Robertson is a product of the Yankees farm system. They drafted him out of the University of Alabama. His older brother also pitched in the big leagues, Connor Robertson, currently now playing in an independent league. Had a play, 0-2 on Mitch Meyer. And David is not very big. He is listed at 5'11", but has a big arm. and up until this year in his professional career was averaging about 11 strikeouts per 9 innings. With a good fastball, and as Split and I were talking about in game 1, a Snapdragon curveball.
Off the table.
And that one was off the table and out of the strike zone. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That's amazing how shallow the outfielders play. A guy like Metz, he's big enough to drive the ball, but you take a look at the outfielders, Gardner in left, Granderson in center, Switcher in right. They're pretty shallow.
One ball, 2 strikes. Royals with 10 hits, 3 runs. The Yankees 12 hits, 6 runs. And the curveball got him looking. So the Royals are scoreless in the 8th. It's a 3-run game. One ball and no strikes on Mark Teixeira after this first pitch from Greg Holland. It's got past Jason Kendall and hit home plate umpire Fielden Colbreth.
It looks like a split finger. Jason whiffed this ball right here, right off the end of the catcher's mitt.
He's not laughing. He might not even be smiling, but Mitch Meyer might be smirking out in right field after seeing Fielden Colbreth hobble around home plate after the call that struck out Meyer to end the bottom of the 8th inning.
Well, it's amazing that, this pitch here was down and away, and this is way outside and down, and they got rung up on that pitch, and that's not a strike, but the first pitch here hit Fielden Colbreth. The second one right over his head.
Pass Chris gets and into right center field. So far, it's been a pretty quiet series for Teixeira at the plate. He's done just about everything in the field, but just 3 hits and 1 RBI.
Well, Chris Getz made a great effort to try to make this play. He got two good steps and the ball was by him, but a great effort on Getz's part at second base.
Alex Rodriguez has 2 home runs tonight and 3 hits overall. And his home runs are Chevrolet plays of the game.
Ryan, this is back in the 6th inning. This is a fastball down and by O'Sullivan. He drives this ball into the left center field bleachers, and the second home run came in the 7th, and this is well above the walls in straightaway center field. 2 home runs in the same game.
First one off of O'Sullivan, the second one off of Teixeira. And just like at Yankee Stadium, a lot of flash bulbs popping with every pitch to Rodriguez. And there's one into deep left field, a 3-home run night. Splash. See many balls land up there.
Not up there, and the fans have seen something pretty special tonight. It's very rare you see a guy hit 3 home runs in the same game. And you look at the pitch location of all 3 of these home runs, they're right in the same quadrant, and he hasn't missed those pitches all night. Now you take a look at this home run. This is the second home run here. You see where it is off the plate, down. He really gets down through this pitch. And I watch where this one is, same location. And I tell you what, they need to get away from his inside right now because he's not missing that pitch. He's squaring it up both times. And these are all 3 here. And, I'm sorry. It's the last one here, Ryan. That you can see where this pitch is. He's just automatic right in that slot all night tonight. And this ball is up at way above the fountains, right below the dry duck seat. Yeah, the fans have been treated to something special tonight for sure.
It's the 56th time in his career he's had more than 1 home run in a game. It's the 4th time he's had 3 home runs in a game.
Going to do it in a park this size, you know he's really squaring these balls up right on time.
So the Yankees have hit 5 home runs, 3 from Rodriguez. Posada and Granderson have solo home runs. We talked about this in New York, Frank. We've seen this game before, and not just against the Royals, but against many teams. At the end of 5 innings, a 1-1 game. At the end of 6 innings, a 4-3 game. And now all of a sudden, it's 8-3.
Comeback wins. They do that very well. They just don't quit. They got so many weapons they can come at you with offensively, and you've got to pitch not only well as a starter, but your bullpen's got to pitch well to get through the last 9 outs of the ball game.
Three balls, 1 strike on Posada. Grounded to Billy and to Greg Allen for out number 2. So 605 career home runs now for Alex Rodriguez, and now just 4 away from Sammy Sosa for 6th all time. Final game of the series is tomorrow afternoon. Brian Bullington will make his 2nd start for the Royals after pitching well in Anaheim. A.J. Burnett for the Yankees. Tomorrow's game is at 1:10. Hy-Vee Royals Live is at 12:30. And now Greg Holland waiting on Curtis Granderson, who got something in his eye. Oh, how about that little device? Got the job done.
Now, I'm going to guess, they're telling A-Rod where this ball went, but I'm going to guess he knows where it went. He just like to have people tell you where it went, because he knew when he hit this ball, he watched it go all the way.
Ball one to Granderson, who's hit one of the 5 home runs off of Sean O'Sullivan in the 6th inning. The Yankees hit 3 home runs in that 6th inning. They were all solo home runs. And now Granderson hits it just foul off the right field line. So that gives the Yankees 140 home runs this season. They entered the game 4th in the league in that department. Two balls, 1 strike on Granderson. So they have passed the White Sox. And now only the Red Sox with 160 and the Blue Jays with 179 have more home runs than the Yankees. It is all or nothing in Toronto this year. Now Granderson hits it deep to left field, and Alex in front of the track makes the play. The inning comes to an end. Alex Rodriguez, as the designated hitter tonight, hits 3 home runs. Three from Alex Rodriguez. He has driven in 5 of the 8. And at the bottom of the 9th inning, the Royals will have Chris Getz, Gregor Blanco, and Jason Kendall against Sergio Mitre. Royals beat Mitre in New York last month, the only win they had in that 4-game series. Mitre was the first replacement for Andy Pettitte when he went on the disabled list, but after that start, had to come out of the game early. Dustin Mosley picked him up, and now Mosley has the spot. And Pettitte is slow to come back from the disabled list. He's had a couple of setbacks in his simulated games at their minor league facility in Tampa. Chris Getz is 0 for 3, has an RBI with a ground out. Mitre is the 5th Yankees pitcher. Phil Hughes gave up 3 runs in 6 innings. Jabba Chamberlain pitched a scoreless 7th. And then Boone Logan and David Robertson combined for a scoreless 8th. 2 balls, no strikes. By winning the game on Thursday, the Yankees continue their great run of wins with leads late in the game. They are 61-0 this year with a lead at the end of the 8th inning.
3 balls, 1 strike. Full count. Andy Pettitte, by the way, is on the disabled list with a groin injury. And with the Yankees having 71 wins already this year and seem to be rolling along just fine, as Cano makes a nice play on Chris Getz for the first out, the Yankees can afford to be careful and be slow with Andy Pettitte.
Well, you're right, Ryan, and I tell you what, being in first place, you can, like you say, can take a little more time, but when you get down close to the playoff time, then you'll start thinking more about Andy Pettitte. And the closer you get to that time, those young guys that they're using right now, they want that guy that's got the most playoff experience.
Tampa Bay has already lost, so the Yankees have a chance to take a 3-game lead in the East, going for their 72nd win of the year. They're the only major league team with at least 70. Blanco is grounded out 3 times and flied out to left field. So that drops him down to an even 200. 2-0. Royals scored first in the bottom of the first inning. Betemit driving in Billy Butler. And with Sean O'Sullivan on the mound, the Royals hung on to that 1-0 lead until the Yankees tied it in the 5th. And then that's when all the scoring began in the top of the 6th inning. The Yankees have scored 3 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, 2 in the 9th, and the Royals have had 2 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Yankees had played 5 straight 1-run games. They had lost 6 of their last 10 games coming into tonight, and the way they've been going, that would be their equivalent of a slump. Royals ended a 5-game losing streak last night, and a changeup strikes out Blanco. He thought that pitch was up. So 2 down in the 9th inning.
Well, it's hard not to agree with him on this one, Ryan. This ball is up, and you normally don't call this pitch a strike. And it's fairly close, but normally it's a pitch that you want to be a little bit more exact when you make this call. Even the fan agrees.
Yeah, you tell him. Big old angry dude in the front row with a Joakim Soria jersey on.
That's what happens when the fans are closer to the batter than the pitcher.
Brian Pena batting for Kendall. Jason was 1 for 4. Royals are down to their last strike. Final game of the series tomorrow. Brian Bullington against A.J. Burnett at 1:10. Hy-Vee Royals Live is at 12:30. And the Royals have an off day before taking on the Indians on Tuesday. Off of Mitre's glove, Cano submarines it over to first base, and the Yankees take game 3. Playing the long ball tonight. The Yankees hit 5 home runs. They get 3 from Alex Rodriguez. Rodriguez has driven in 96